Or they try to.
All right, welcome to this episode of the Pittsburgh Business Virgin. My name is Brad Hilbert, president of Three Rivers Wealth Management Group. I'm here with my co-host, the one and only Mr. Brian Klaus. I was going to joke around and say Vanna White, but the one and only Brian Klaus, financial consultant with Three Rivers. Today we're happy to have in the studio Mr. Ron Meledandri. I got that right?
Pretty good.
Did I nail it? Okay. And he actually owns Centra Business Solutions, and he is a business consultant. And really, we wanted Ron in today because he's once again a part of our expert series with the Pittsburgh Business Virgin, where we're bringing in experts to talk to our business virgins about sort of the do's and don'ts of starting and taking their business to the next level. So, Ron, thank you very much for coming down.
My pleasure.
And being part of the show today. I know Mr. Brian's got the first question out of the chute today. What do you got, Brian?
Well, Ron, I mean, you have a vast array of business knowledge, startup sales. Tell us your story. I know there's a lot to squeeze in, but try to tell us your story in a couple minutes so that everybody has a solid understanding of where it is that you came from and kind of how you earned your business degree, so to speak, outside of college.
Okay. You're on the stripes.
Well, originally when I started off, my intent was not to be an entrepreneur. My original intent was to work for a major corporation and work my way up the ladder. So when I graduated from Duquesne, I took a job with Westinghouse Electric Corporation in Baltimore, Maryland, as a systems analyst computer programmer, working at what was then the Westinghouse Defense and Space Center. I felt that this was a great opportunity for me, a good way to get into the corporate environment, to learn a lot about business. So I started there working mainly on manufacturing systems, designing systems to collect data from the factory floor, to bill the government on government contracts, and so on. After about 3 years doing that work, I was offered the position of MIS manager, or as they call it today, IT manager, down in Vicksburg, Mississippi at the Interior Lighting Division of Westinghouse. So at the ripe old age of 26, I couldn't pass up the opportunity for my first management position, so off I went down to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I was IT manager down there for roughly 2.5 to 3 years. My boss walked in my office one day in Mississippi, and he said, "Ron, I'm moving to Chicago. I'd love for you to move to Chicago with me and work up there. We have some similar projects we'd like to work on." He was a great guy to work for. It took me about 15 seconds to say, "Yes, I'll move to Chicago with you." So off I went to Chicago, to the Industrial Battery Division, and did a few projects in the IT area with him, and told him, "Look," I said, "in order for me to move up the corporate ladder, I need to have more experience. I need to have a variety of experience. I don't want to be stereotyped as an IT guy." So he said, "Fine." He said, "Finish these projects up. I'll get you into another area." So from there, I moved into marketing, and I became marketing services manager. Had responsibility for all the marketing support functions at the battery division. After I was in that job a short period of time, general manager came into my office one day and said, "We're reorganizing a bit. Would you like to move into manufacturing?" I said, "Great, another line on the resume. It's fantastic. I'd love to move into manufacturing." So I became the manufacturing manager at the battery division for a while. After a period of time there, Westinghouse decided they were getting out of the battery business. They were going to sell the battery division. I had some options of going to various places. I chose to go up to Minneapolis to Thermo King Corporation, which at the time was a wholly owned subsidiary of Westinghouse. And I went to Thermo King, went back into the marketing area, became manager of market planning and research. Did profit planning, strategic planning, sales forecasting, those kinds of activities in marketing. After about 1.5 to 2 years in that position, Thermo King offered me the chance to move into the materials area and become materials manager. So I jumped at it. Once again, I could broaden my experience, learn more about different areas, and I became the materials manager. That took me up to about 1982, and at that time I started to get to the urge to go into business for myself. I started to ask myself, am I really as smart as I think I am? Can I run my own show? So at the end of 1982, I, along with my brother, 2 other partners, we bought what had been the Honeywell Country Club from Honeywell Corporation. And it was a typical country club. It was an 18-hole golf course, driving range, swimming pool, tennis courts, clubhouse, etc.
Did you guys self-finance that, or did you have to go out and get business loans and everything else?
We financed it 2 ways to start with. First of all, Honeywell financed it for 1 year.
Okay, that's
They were
good.
they were willing to finance it for 1 year to give us a shot at getting up and running and search for separate financing. During that period of time, we went out and got financing through Midway National Bank in the area and carried a mortgage through them.
How long did you own the club for?
We owned the club for 11 years.
It's good business.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Gotcha. And then you sold that off.
We sold that off. In the meantime, we started a development business. My brother came in and became an active partner with me, and he took over the development end of the business. So we built townhomes on one side of the golf course, single-family homes on the other, and we had 2 businesses going. In the meantime, the owners of a motel not too far away asked me to take over the food and beverage business there. Since there was some synergy between the 2 places, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I took over the food and beverage business there. So we had 3 things going. After 11 years, we sold everything. We got some good offers, and we sold the development business, we sold the country club, we sold the food and beverage business. I had to stay on for a year as part of the sales agreement. My brother was a little smarter. He retired, moved down to Florida, and has enjoyed life down in Florida ever since. After my year was up, I started doing some consulting work for a few small businesses in the area. Was enjoying that when a friend of mine back here in the Pittsburgh area called and said, "Would you help me with a job cost project?" He had a machine shop and a fabricating business. So he said, "The project will take about a month." I said, "Sure, be glad to." Came back to help him for a month. A month turned into, "Why don't you move back here permanently and help me out with some other projects?" My wife and I talked it over, and in '95, we moved back here to the Pittsburgh area. And I spent about 2 years helping him out with various types of projects, from the job cost system to new accounting system, new computer system, etc. When I finished all that up and had done as much as I could with him, I decided to go back and do some consulting work. Had a client ask me one day, "How do I refinance my home, take the money out of my house and put it into my business?" Said, "I don't know. I'll investigate, see what I can come up with." Found out I could get a mortgage license. I got a mortgage license for the specific purpose of helping my clients like that. Mm-hmm. It happened to be 97, 98 when the refi boom was starting. I started getting calls from other people. I got some calls from people that wanted to work for me. I started a mortgage company. Spent 80% of my time on the mortgage company, 20% of my time on the consulting business. Had that for about 10 years. In '07, I could begin to see what was happening with the mortgage industry. Didn't like what I was seeing. Got my employees together. Told them that I was probably going to get out of the business. Didn't like what was happening in the industry, and one of my employees said, "I'll buy it from you."
Try to get them out of the business.
Yeah.
Do them a world of good, right?
Most of them did get out. I did have one employee that wanted to stay in the business, and he bought it from me.
It's not bad.
Worked a deal with him out. He liked it, and off he went, and he's still running it now.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to come back with Ron, talk about how Centra sort of developed. My guess is that's kind of after the mortgage business when we started getting back into the consulting gig, and you also teach. We want to hit on that as well. And we're going to be right back with Ron. Come back for the next segment with Ron Meledandri
Meledandri
of Centra Business Solutions.